بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه بجهدهم قام هذا الدين رضي الله عنهم أجمعين. ثم ما بعد، نقل الإمام النووي رحمه الله في رياض الصالحين قال: وعن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده، والمهاجر من هاجر ما نهى الله عنه. متفق عليه واللفظ للبخاري. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he said in Riyadh al-Salihin, according to his isnad, that Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiyallahu anhu, he related that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that the Muslim is the one who safeguards others from his tongue and from his hand, and the person of hijrah, or the person who's an immigrant or migrant, is one who migrates from that which Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has prohibited. And this hadith is related by both Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, and the wording of the text itself is that which is found in Bukhari. As for the fiqh of the hadith, it is said that the best Muslim and the one with complete iman, the mu'min, is he who establishes the rights of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala and the rights of human beings. Therefore, we come to understand that the Muslim is not one who is an oppressor. The Muslim is not one who engages in the oppression of another human being, but is rather he who flees from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made prohibited. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enjoined upon the Muslims to establish the rights of others. And we have seen, when we look into the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, into his life walk, into his biography, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam engaged others even from other faiths, and the way that he engaged others, even his enemies, whether they were from his family or whether they were from the people of the book, in the most just way. That is how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam engaged humanity, because he was sent as a compassion from Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to humanity. In other words, to teach us how to live as human beings and in a way which would safeguard our humanity. What we see today taking place in Libya, and we see taking place in many parts of the world, is a crisis situation, and that we see oppression is spreading, and we see in particular the situation in Libya is such that the international community has imposed upon itself silence when speaking to the situation of the Libyan people who are being murdered by armed forces which are not clear who they are, but are supposedly representing the government. The point at hand is not the political situation, so to speak, but what is the problem at hand is the lack of regard for human beings and for human dignity. And if we look at the fact that the Human Rights Charter is supposed to represent human beings and protect their dignity, and if we look at the fact that institutions such as Amnesty International are supposed to be set up to safeguard human rights and human dignity against oppression, and we have to ask, where are these institutions today? Why is it that the world community is silent while this is taking place? It leads some to the conclusion that the silence is one of interest, in that what was taking place in Libya has a lot to do with safeguarding profits, safeguarding economic interests, safeguarding corporate interests. So then we have to ask today, February 21st of 2011, where are we at in terms of regarding human dignity? Have we not learned from World War II that when we don't safeguard human dignity, we open the path to tyranny and we open the path to wars between nations? So then we have to call on ourselves and each other to speak out for the sake of those who are oppressed in the land, for those who are being slaughtered, for those who are being murdered, whether they be Muslim or not be Muslim. But at the scale at which this crisis is escalating and expanding, it is important for us to speak out for the sake of human beings and human dignity. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to aid those who are the most oppressed in the land, wherever they may be, whether they be Muslim or not Muslim. And we ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to help the people of Libya to be a people of justice and to protect them from those who would inflict harm, who would inflict death upon them. But ultimately, the keys of death and life are with Allah. So we ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to establish justice in that land and to protect them from a person who is obsessed with power, a person who is obsessed with power to the point of killing others. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to be with the Libyan people. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to manifest justice there. And we ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to manifest freedom there and everywhere else in the Muslim world and outside of the Muslim world. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين.